Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. In the furthest reaches of the X-ray sector, where the laws of navigation break down under the weight of cosmic fury, there is a place called the Maw of the Pulsar. At the center sits PSRB 1919, a dead star that spins 1,000 times a second, whipping out beams of lethal radiation that can melt the sensors of a capital ship in seconds. This is a graveyard of explorers, a wasteland of ionized gas and magnetic storms. But for one man it is a playground. They call him the Solar Wraith. He is a ghost pilot, a marauder who has spent 20 years looting the automated mining barges of the hegemony. No one has ever seen his face. No one has even seen his ship clearly. He uses the pulsar's radiation to mask his signature, flickering in and out of reality like a mirage. The hegemony's trade guild is losing billions. They have tried sending automated interceptors, but the radiation fries their logic circuits. They have tried sending suicide squads, but the Wraith leads them into the magnetic loops where they are crushed by gravity. They need someone who doesn't rely on computers. They need a hunter who can fly by instinct and see the invisible. They hired Silas Vane. Silas Vane sits in the cockpit of the Shadow Wing, and the world is screaming. Outside the viewport, the universe is a kaleidoscope of violet, gold, and burning white. The pulsar's beam passes nearby every few seconds, and when it does, the ship's internal lights flicker and the hull groans like a living thing. Most pilots would be terrified, but Vane is as still as a statue. He wears his signature tattered black hood, the fabric specially treated with lead fiber to prevent the radiation from cooking his brain. His face is hidden behind the featureless obsidian mask. The single glowing blue horizontal visor is the only calm thing in the ship. It is not looking at the radar. Radar is useless here. It is looking at the spectral distortions of the gas. Target identified, Vane rasps. His voice is a low, metallic vibration, filtered through the life support system. The Solar Wraith is not a legend, it is a pilot of extreme skill. Vane sees a ripple in a cloud of ionized hydrogen 3 kilometers away. It isn't a ship on the scanners but a pocket of displaced energy. The Wraith ship is coated in a chameleon hull that absorbs radiation and re-emits it to match the background. To anyone else it is a ghost. To Silas Vane, it is a prey that is trying too hard to be quiet. Vane pushes the throttle of the Shadow Wing. The ion engines roar, fighting the chaotic gravity of the pulsar. He doesn't fire his weapons yet. A single laser shot in this environment could ignite the gas clouds and create a firestorm that would swallow both ships. This is a game of positioning. The Solar Wraith realizes he is being followed. The ghost ship suddenly accelerates, diving into a massive magnetic loop that stretches for thousands of miles. The Wraith is trying to lure Vane into the crush zone, where the magnetic pressure is high enough to flatten a hull into a pancake. Vane doesn't hesitate. He follows. The Shadow Wing enters the loop. The ship is suddenly pelted by high-energy particles that sound like rain on a tin roof. Inside the cabin, sparks fly from the secondary consoles. The temperature is climbing. Vane feels the weight of the gravity pressing him into his seat, but he keeps his hands steady on the manual flight sticks. He doesn't use the autopilot. The autopilot would try to correct for the turbulence and get him killed. Vane lets the ship ride the waves of radiation, banking the Shadow Wing like a bird on a storm wind. "You're good," Vane mutters, watching the Wraith's silhouette flicker in the distance. "But you're predictable." The Wraith attempts a daring maneuver. He cuts his engines entirely, intending to let the magnetic current carry him around a jagged asteroid of solid iron. It's a trick designed to make a pursuer overshoot and crash into the rock. Vane sees it coming. Instead of following the curve, he fires the Shadow Wing's forward retro thrusters. The ship lurches violently, the G-force slamming Vane forward against his harness. The blue visor of his mask glows brighter as he calculates the trajectory. He doesn't go around the asteroid. He goes over it, scraping the hull of the Shadow Wing against the iron surface to bleed off excess velocity. Sparks erupt from the bottom of the ship, but Vane is now directly behind the Wraith. The ghost pilot panics. He engages his overdrive system, dumping raw fuel into his engines to escape. The resulting burst of energy makes him visible for a split second. A sleek, needle-shaped ship of dark chrome. That's the opening Vane was waiting for. Vane doesn't fire a lethal shot. He doesn't want to destroy the ship. The contract specifies the Wraith must be captured for interrogation. Vane reaches for a lever on his left console. He activates the EMP harpoon, a weapon designed to deliver a localized electronic surge through a physical cable. He waits for the pulsar's beam to swing toward them. The light of the dead star hits the sector, turning everything into a blinding white void. In that microsecond of absolute brightness, every sensor in the nebula is blinded. But Vane has timed it. He knows the rhythm of the star. He closes his eyes and fires. The harpoon screams out of the shadow wing. It travels through the radiation cloud, the cable glowing like a neon line. It slams into the Wraith's engine block just as the Pulsar's light fades. The surge travels down the wire. The ghost ship's lights die. Its chameleon hull fails, revealing the dark chrome body. The solar Wraith is dead in the water, caught in the web of the hunter. Vane begins the reel-in. The shadow wing's winches groan under the strain of pulling a dead ship through a radiation storm. He brings the ghost ship into the cargo bay, the magnetic locks clanking shut with a sound of finality. The hunt is over. Vane walks into the cargo bay. The air is thick with the smell of scorched metal. He approaches the Wraith's ship. The cockpit canopy is cracked. Inside sits a man in an ancient flight suit, his hands still clutching the controls. He is trembling. He looks up and sees the figure in the tattered black hood. He sees the obsidian mask. He sees the cold, unblinking blue light of the visor. "Who are you?" the Wraith whispers, his voice cracking after years of isolation. "The man who pays your debts," Vane rasps. He secures the prisoner in a radiation-shielded cell. He walks back to the command bridge and checks the shadow wing's integrity. The ship is a mess. The hull is pitted, the shields are at 5%, and the engines need a total overhaul. But the mission is a success. He receives a signal from the Trade Guild. The credits are already being transferred to a secure account on a neutral moon. The guild doesn't care about the pilot's life. They want the location of his hidden caches of stolen goods. They will peel the information out of him, one layer at a time. Vane doesn't think about the man in the cell. He doesn't think about the Pulsar or the ghost he just turned into a prisoner. He pulls his tattered hood back into place and watches the blue visor reflect in the glass of the viewport. The Pulsar continues to spin, its beams cutting through the dark like a lighthouse for the dead. But Silas Vane is already moving on. He sets a course for the nearest shipyard. He has a ship to fix, a bounty to collect, and a galaxy full of shadows that still need to be hunted. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. A ghost is only a ghost until someone turns on the lights. If you enjoyed this high-radiation chase with Silas Vane, hit that like button. Comment below, would you dare to fly through a Pulsar's beam? Subscribe for the next hunt, the Mech Titan. The Shadow Wing is back in the black. The ghost is caught.